please don't skip this video. If these words touch your heart, take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. By doing so, you're helping spread the word of Jesus and reach someone who is waiting for hope today. Stay with us until the end. God may have a special message, a blessing, or an answer to your prayers just for you. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. May God bless you abundantly, fill your life with His peace, and answer the desires of your heart. Amen.
Today, we're diving into something really powerful. It's this idea that spiritual loneliness. What if it's not actually an absence? What if it's a journey, a really profound and purposeful one? Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with a question, and I bet this one hits home for a lot of you. Have you ever felt just completely alone, even when you're surrounded by people? You know that feeling? It's this quiet, kind of hollow feeling, even when your life is super busy. And it can make you question everything. Most of us, right, we just try to run from it. We fill the silence with noise. But here's the big question. What if that feeling isn't something to escape at all?
And here it is. This is the big idea, the total reframe we're talking about today. The idea is that this deep, really unsettling loneliness, it's not a curse. It's a calling. It's actually an invitation, a kind of preparation for something new. All right, so let's dig into our first section. We're calling this one, The Loneliness is a Calling. How do we make that shift in our heads, you know? How do we go from feeling completely abandoned to seeing this as a deliberate invitation? And this slide really breaks it down for us. It's not about abandonment. That feels awful, right? Like a painful void you're just desperate to escape. No, what we're talking about here is separation. Think of it as a sacred space, one that's been intentionally created for preparation. So it's not a punishment. It's more like a doorway. You know, this isn't some brand new idea. It's a pattern you see all through the scriptures. Just think about it. Hagar out in the wilderness, Hannah praying all by herself in the temple, or Mary quietly holding on to these huge world-changing things that nobody else could possibly understand. The point is they weren't abandoned. They were separated on purpose for a much deeper encounter. Okay, so once you're in that quiet, separated space, the silence itself starts to work on you. And as we're about to see, this can be really, really uncomfortable, especially at first.
I love this comparison because it's so true. Our noisy, busy lives, a lot of the time it's just a performance, isn't it? We're in constant survival mode, and all that noise hides what's really going on deep inside. But the silence strips all of that away, and it starts to reveal everything we've buried. Those deep questions, the grief we never dealt with, the true state of our own heart. It's like an excavation of the soul.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. Silence becomes a mirror. And it's not a cruel mirror, not one that's there to judge you. It's just honest. It just shows you what's really there. And you know what? That kind of raw honesty is absolutely the first, essential step to any real change. And this is the turning point. If you can just sit in that honest silence long enough, something starts to shift. It's subtle, but it's huge. That feeling of emptiness, it stops feeling like you've been forgotten. And instead, it starts to feel like a presence, a powerful, intentional presence. It's this moment where you realize, oh, I'm not being ignored. I'm actually being invited closer.
Which brings us to what is probably the hardest part of this whole journey. Because once you start hearing what the silence has to say, well, you're faced with the really difficult work of letting go. And this is a battle that nobody else can see.
So what does that actually look like? Well, first, you start to realize that some old habits, maybe even some old relationships, they don't fit anymore. Then comes the really hard choice. Do you choose this new sense of peace you're being called to, or do you stick with the comfort of what's familiar? And finally, you have to let go of that deep, deep need for other people's approval. And man, every single one of those steps takes real courage. And this is the internal tug of war it starts, right? On one side, you've got this loyalty to your past. You're afraid of change. You're terrified of disappointing people. But on the other side, there's this quiet but super persistent pull, an obedience to the person you're becoming. It's a battle fought completely on the inside. But then you have this incredible, liberating realization. The idea here is just so good. What feels like your life falling apart isn't your life at all. It's the illusion that you were supposed to stay the same forever. That's what's falling apart.
So this isn't destruction, not really. It's more like a necessary demolition to make room for something new to grow. So after all that painful work of letting go, what actually starts to grow? Well, something new. A different kind of strength starts to form. And a faith that, honestly, it feels fragile. It feels stretched super thin. But somehow, it just refuses to break. And this slide really gets at the two different kinds of faith. You've got loud belief, right? That's the one fueled by big emotions, big events, and this feeling of absolute certainty. But what grows in the silence is what we're calling grounded faith. And that's different. It's rooted in quiet trust, and it's strong enough to keep going even when you're full of doubt.
And listen, this is such a huge takeaway. If your faith feels fragile right now, if it feels thin, that does not mean it's weak. In fact, it might be the opposite. This is a sign of mature faith. The kind of faith that's been tested, that's been through some storms, and has survived without needing all the constant proof and emotional highs.
Because at the end of the day, the strength being built here has nothing to do with intensity or putting on a show. It's a calm resilience. It's like that quiet, hidden preparation Esther went through before she ever stepped into the spotlight. It's forged where no one is watching, away from all the applause, deep in the silence and solitude.
And that brings us to the final and most powerful stage of this whole journey. This is where the why behind all the pain, all the silence, all the isolation, this is where it finally starts to make sense. So, purpose. In this way of thinking, it's not some big dramatic announcement from the sky. It's way quieter than that. It's a slow, unmistakable clarity that just sort of emerges from all that healing and faithfulness. And here's the most beautiful part. Your past, with all of its pain and all of its struggle, it doesn't disqualify you. Not at all. It actually becomes the very heart of your message. This timeline just lays it out so perfectly. It shows that whole shift in perspective. In the past, you're stuck asking, why is this happening to me? But in the present, you start to get it. You have that Joseph moment, right? What was meant for harm, God used for good. And then when you look to the future, there's this incredible peace because you realize, oh, this had to happen. It had to happen for me to become who I am right now. So in the end, the very thing that hurt you the most, that loneliness, it becomes your proof. It's the testimony of your journey. It's proof that you survived, sure, but it's more than that. It's proof that you grew, that you came out of it totally transformed. So let's just leave it with this final thought to chew on. What if that season of isolation, the one you fought so hard to get out of, what if that was the very thing that was shaping the quiet, unshakable strength you carry with you today? What if it was never a punishment? What if it was preparation all along?